Hey gang, we're into the next installment on governors. This is going to show the internal workings of a mechanical governor. The mechanical governor, as can be seen here, rides on the cam. Now let's get in here a little bit so you can see. Alright, we've got the cam here. There's the cam gear. There's the governor gear. Here's the governor limiting arm, which doesn't allow it to go down too far when you're adjusting. And on the other end, right here, is your pivot point. You can see I just moved that in. Here are your weights that push the governor out, in and out, as you can see. And they are controlled. This one's over the top of the lip on the governor weight. These are on the bottom, or the plunger, whatever you want to call it. These are actually the weights. You can see things moving back and forth. Let me get the governor there. Okay. See, I'm rotating the governor by hand on the outside. Now, as the engine spins, it creates centrifugal force, which forces these weights out. And when these weights get forced out, it forces that governor arm to open. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Okay? So that's essentially what you've got going on in there. As you rotate the crank, it rotates the cam. I'm going the wrong direction. As you rotate the crank, it rotates the cam, opens the valves at their respective timing, and the governor, of course, obviously would be spinning a lot faster so that those weights would open. Will come in and make contact with your governor rod that goes out and gets attached to everything on the outside that I explained in the last video. I got a case of the Sleepies because I filled my belly. But that is the generic how does it work idea on the mechanical governors. And most mechanical governors are similar in principle. So the way that they work is primarily the same on a mechanical type governor. Then you have the pneumatic governors, the air vane governors. We'll cover those in another video. I mentioned them when I had that little 2-horse sitting on the shelf. But let's pan back out here and you can see the entire works. Up a little bit. You've got your crankshaft. Your crankshaft would be turning in a clockwise rotation. Your connecting rod would be attached here with your end cap bearing. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And then your wrist pin going through the top of the connecting rod and through the piston. And as you rotate, it moves the piston up and down, opens and closes the valves in the timing that is required, and the magnets here will pass over the coil at the precise time that your point's open to throw your spark. I say open only because the terminology kind of goes in that direction. They come in, they touch, throws your spark. Touch, throws your spark. Via the condenser slash. Yeah, that thing. So I really got a serious case of the Sleepies. I probably should have waited a little bit to do this. Condenser or capacitor. There we go. Essentially the same thing. Alright. So as you're rotating, you might wonder what these two big guys here are. Not relevant to the governor, but these two big guys here are your counterbalances, so that when you're moving the connecting rod and piston mass up and down, you're getting a counter force, hence the name counterweights, on the opposite side of the crankshaft. Just reduce vibration. So as we rotate over, you can see the function of the governor and what its job is and what it's supposed to do. and the crankshaft has another gear here that rides on the cam in a timed position where the marks are matched, and then in turn you have your governor. The governor, doesn't matter what position that governor is set in, you know, you can pop the governor out, put it in there any way you want to put it. Its rotational force is all that's important. Its orientation to the cam and crank and the valves and all that is irrelevant. So there you have it. There's the mechanical workings, and I'm going to get in really close here to the governor. Maybe I can get the camera to cooperate with me. Get in really close here to the governor. I'm a little too close. There. Things oriented a little better. And I'm going to rotate over again, holding the governor, because it would have spring tension on the outside, holding the governor rod to the mechanical governor. And as it turns, these weights that you see, the flat spot here, they spread out. When they spread out, they move this plunger into the governor rod, allowing governed speed. So that should do it as far as the explanation on looking at a mechanical governor from the inside of the engine and how it actually does its job from inside the engine. So this is part 3. It pretty well ends the early settings on mechanical governors. I did mention that you can adjust your governing power by moving the spring from the different holes and different notches along the governor arm, depending on what kind of governed engine speed you need. If you're running half throttle and you want that to be your optimum, reset your spring. The governor settings to the carburetor remain the same. So that's it for this installment of Governor Adjustments, Governor How-Tos, Governor How Does It Work, Governor Settings, Governor Connections, the whole nine in that respect. We will go over the later model governors in the next installment. This Zippo later. I'm out.